Good morning, President Hakainde Hichilema. Good morning, Zambia. Good morning, Africa. President Ibrahim Traore. I'm speaking in terms of the most saddest moments that Zambia has of division over the remains of Edgar Changwa Lungu. When I was writing this book, which is the 11th volume to President Hakainde Hichilema, in his open letter that he had 12 volumes, I believe what I was actually saying, it may sound to be contrary to the appeal of the cabinet secretary, who said during this time where there's a difference between the president and the bereaved family, people must not bring decisive messages or speak things that are not uniting the country. But to my surprise, I see another prophet who calls him prophet. I think I'll read some certain statement which I already wrote here. And this is a copy that I gave through the embassy to the president. I know the 12 copies reached you, and I appeal that upon seeing this video, pull out that copy and read what I wrote in this book. If a prophet that calls him a spiritual man appeals to the family of Edgar Lungu to say, yeah, bury that person in South Africa. If you want, you can eat his flesh. Eat him and finish him. We don't care. What kind of a man who is called a seer or a spiritual man who is called a prophet? What kind of a political advisor? Me, I want to read what is here. It may sound bitter, but it's for a purpose to bring the two parties into realization that when I had to put this picture here for Hakainde Hichilema and Edgar Lungu, I meant there must be a reconciliation. And this is the reconciliation that I'm standing for. On this book, which is volume 11 of the 12 volumes, open letter to Hakainde Hichilema, I wrote, shocking truth, open letter to President Hakainde Hichilema, life or death, CC former President Edgar Lungu, meaning that a copy of this same letter has to be read by Edgar Lungu. Then I quoted Ezekiel 3 verse 18. I said, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, his blood will I require at thine hand. Ezekiel 3 verse 18. This is God says that if I tell the wicked that you shall die, and me as a messenger, if I don't tell the wicked, the blood of that person will be upon me. That means I'll be punished. Instead, I may die in his place. So I warned the two of these leaders, based on the fact that God revealed to me about Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's rise and fall, Chiluba's rise and fall, Manawasa's rise and fall, also the rise of Lupia Banda. With Lupia Banda, I was given a vision where I was announcing 2 books of condolences. And I appealed to pray for him for his cancer. He also refused. And he died. A premature death. I want to say that those who claim that Dr. Kaunda died as an old man, according to my scriptures that I read, it says that an old man must go beyond 100 years. If an old man dies less than 100 years, he has not lived a full life. So, all these presidents that have died in Zambia, they have died prematurely and have been given by God the revelation to warn them, to pray for them, to ask them to come back to God, not to follow politics that are selling Africa to the West by accepting multi-party democracy of division, of hatred, of name-calling, of insult, in the name of human rights. And everyone who has a right to insult, they come to us and say that as men of God, when we tell them the truth, they insult us. I posted some certain insults which have been insulted today on Facebook, not to open a case, but to give a test to the cyber law, to say, can you follow the people that are insulting? Can you follow the people that masquerade as the first lady who could offer me money for me not to talk? I cannot talk. I cannot stop talking because of money. If I needed money, there are many ways I can make money, but I fear my God. I only do what God tells me, not to be corrupted. Therefore, as I'm talking, Job chapter 7 verse 5, the second text that I wrote on this book, it says, so that my soul chooses struggling and death rather than my life. So I chose struggling, and I've chosen death than to save my life. What I'm speaking is an injury to everyone who hates the truth. It's an injury to everyone who is seated on money. Because when you have money, you don't even need to pray. You know that when you open your fridge, you eat anything that you want. When you want to have lunch in London, you go. When you want to do anything, you go. Money answers everything and makes you to forget that there is God. And if you see someone speaking about God, you think that person is just looking for money. I'm not looking for money. Thank you very much for all your offers. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm speaking the will of God into the life of President Hakainde Hichilema. This is what I wrote. On my preface inside, that is before forward, on page 2, Roman numerals, I said, the donor aid-funded allegation against the former First Lady, Mrs. Ester Lungu, and others by the Drug Enforcement Commission DEC must be dropped. If your claim to seek the former President Edgar Lungu's hand in your crusade of partnership in leadership, because a case against the First Lady is a case against him. This is because the properties in question can be built by President Lungu as the only one who was employed by the Zambian. Before these wrangles, I warned about them. This is what prophecy is all about. The reason why today Hakainde Hichilema and the Lungu'S family has is because of these allegations leveled against the former president, against his wife, and against his children. And if President Hakainde Hichilema listened to this letter to drop those cases, this problem was not going to be there. But there's a prophet of Hakainde Hichilema that I've known to say it's of Hakainde Hichilema, because Hakainde Hichilema issued a caution and honest statement against Chilufya Tayari, because he never agreed with what he was talking about. But I've never heard a warn and caution statement against Siawan. Instead, I see Siawan changing his statement like a comedian and claiming to say those statements is a donor of power. He can change this. You are saying, Tasira, I have a number. I can give you the number to talk to Hakainde Hichilema. You bring the body. And immediately says, today I have information that they are going to bury in South Africa. I have information, what. And he is actually insulting and inciting violence. But no one on his followers can tell him that you are a mad person or you are a false prophet. No one. But me, who has written these warnings in private to you, and when I come on open to come and challenge the falsehood on social media, then I find the threats to my life. I find insults. President Hakainde Hichilema, I'm appealing to you in the name of Jesus Christ. Read this open letter, because when I write to you, I'm not meant to sound attacking you. I'm meant to sound a person who is rescuing you from danger. But you don't see the dangerness. If it was your prophets that you trust today, who were not there the first time then when I was talking to you before you became president, they were not there. But today, they are there. And they are praising you all around. Even if you are wrong, they will say you are right. They are the ones that are misleading you. Instead of you handling this situation with diplomats, if you listen to what I wrote in this book, you would not have found yourself in this situation. I continue to say, the same appeal is made to the South African government to drop donor-funded charges against President Jacob Zuma, and South Africa must consider Julius Malema's call for economical freedom for Africa, as it is the only means to sustain our economy in Africa as a whole. I mentioned this statement before I knew about Traore, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. The beacon of peace that can remove all these political differences in Zambia and South Africa and everywhere else is ownership of our natural resources. When people are fueled in their stomach, when politicians can steal and steal and steal and steal and steal no more and remember to feed their citizens, I tell you, no one will be fighting. Because there's a stealing which is based on hunger. There's a stealing which is based on administration. There's a stealing that we call stealing today because we don't have access to the things that we are supposed to own. An African to have gold in his hands or to have copper in your hands, you are arrested. But someone from China, someone from America, someone from UK, from France, having access to gold, they are not arrested. It's theirs in our own country. All that market and seed market there, we are supposed to be selling. Our mothers and sisters and everyone else who is selling there, they are supposed to be selling gold, copper, whatsoever mineral, because it is our product. I want to tell you that the news that we listen, they make us listen to soccer. All these sports that we are listening, they are not changing our lives. They make us listen to crimes. They make us listen to fake news. But instead of us listening to the news of saying, President Hakainde Hichilema has employed so much, the cameras must actually go to those people who are employed. And the cameras must follow their offices and show us what they are working in a mine and what they are producing for the benefit of the what? Of the country. But the news that we are being fed is of hatred. We are shown dead bodies. We are shown things that makes us to be angry. Right now, when there's division, news, the whole Facebook is talking about division, not development. And when we are talking like this, people think that we want to draw attention. We are speaking that Africa must unite and remove all these differences. For a person to steal is because he is in need. This poverty is created, and it is created deliberately so that we can fight each other, so that leadership can be used to fight each other, to make allegations, to trap each other with monies. How many cases was Chiluba facing? 100 and something cases. A lot of millions were reported to be transferred from ZAM troop to another ZAM troop account to another ZAM troop account. But by the end of the whole case, we are showing designer suits, designer shoes, all the trunks of the what? Of the shoes. But we are not showing the money which was being discussed. And the people were angry against Chiluba as a thief. But me, I knew that those All those evidences that have been reported on social media, they were fake because Chiluba refused to privatize certain remaining mines. So when I'm talking about dropping the cases about Lungu, I know why Lungu was a target from donor countries, because he refused to introduce the homosexual law. I know why Jacob Zuma in South Africa is a target, because he wanted to turn South Africa into a country that is developing, into a country where there is no crime. All these crimes that we have around, they are being supported. They are being created to create chaos in Africa. And when we speak like this, those donors have their own African people who are trained to believe, because they are given money to speak against the truth. You come on Facebook, you want to tell me that I'm mad because you are given money to come and claim that I'm mad. I will never be mad. No matter how many injections you can put in my head, I'll still remain active, because there's a God who gave me this assignment to come and rescue leaders who are going to listen to this warning. I want to proceed by saying that, let me read on chapter 29, the introduction of chapter 29, which I said good and evil. Page 29. Chapter 4. The title on this open letter is Good and Evil. I said open letter to President HH. Note, the first read the foreword before reading this submission. His Excellent, the President of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema, I quote, "It is shocking indeed that God created evil to give us a choice between good and evil." I'm quoting Isaiah chapter 46, verse 7. "I'm the Lord, and there is none else. I form the light, I create darkness, I make peace, and I create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things." It is actually God who creates evil. It is actually God who creates good. So the choice to choose between evil and good lies on President Hakainde Hichilema. I remember in one of the YouTube that I talked about, I said when you gave the statement regarding the reconciliation process which you are suggesting, you started your statement very well, but thereafter you threw your weight to say, I'll use the police. If the police fail, I'll use the army against those who are holding the board of who? Of Ester Lungu. I said that was a wrong statement. To be a president is not to be someone untouchable. It's not someone to be very strong to a point that every one of us must feel your weight. But to be a president, it's when you are able to move from State House, go to the lowest compound, go and meet the poor, go and meet those who can't understand you well personally without sending anyone. What is so difficult for you to call the former President Ester Lungu wife, Ester Lungu, the first lady to former President Lungu? What is so difficult? Even in Tasira, what is so difficult? That you can talk to them personally. Apologize. We should not pretend that you guys, you are not in good terms. Let us not pretend. Anyone who is praising you, I've read a lot of posts they are giving you on Facebook. They are actually, even from your prophet Siawan, they are actually praising you to be loving, to be good, to be so what, and you should not even care of what happens with the Lungu family. They are misleading you. To be a president is to be a servant. To be a president is to take insults. to be president is to know, to say you are there to unite the country. You cannot revenge everyone that does wrong to you. You cannot arrest everyone that do wrong. How can you be a good president? Because certain people, they insult because of ignorance. And their ignorance, if it is attended by arrest, you are actually adding fire on top of another what? Another fire. People like me, I used not to speak on social media. I had access of social media. The time when the phones began coming in Zambia, I had the earliest phone, which was bought to me by the first president, Kaunda. He bought to me because there were some elements, individuals there, who never wanted me to meet him. And when I reached the gate there, they closed the gate. Then Kaunda says, okay, here's the money, go and buy a cell phone. When you reach on the gate, if they stop you, call me. I'll send someone to come and pick you. When I started calling him, when I'm stopped by the gate, Kalungombe became cross. When I was entering on the gate, he was searching me like I'm a person who is carrying a gun. Then when they find the Bible in my pocket, they say, no, leave the Bible. Because when you go inside there, you're going to talk too much. So I've gone through misunderstanding. There are many. Sunday Chanda knows about it. Sunday Chanda was actually arranging me to, since they have blocked you here, president will be at Lusaka Hotel. Go and wait from there. I'll give you a chance to talk to him. But when Sunday Chanda became in charge, when Kalungombe was moved out, Sunday Chanda changed also. He became a stranger to me. When he found me talking to Kaunda, he sits now next. He wants to control the whole situation. He wants to listen to what I'm talking about. I'm finally saying, the people that you are surrounded with, they are not different with the people that misguided Kaunda. The people that you are surrounded with, they are not different with the people that surrounded Chiluba. Because Chiluba ordered for my arrest when I went to tell him of a vision to say, Chiluba, I've dreamt that they will arrest you. Before they started calling Chiluba a thief, I was there on his doorstep. I told him, and the letter is there. He ordered for my arrest on the second what? On the 2nd April 2002. And the same date that Chiluba ordered for my arrest is the same date that the judgment from London High Court was read on the same date, the same month, after 4 years, when I spent 4 nights, 4 days in Woodlands police station. I've passed through thin and thick. I've been arrested in South Africa here. When you won the election, I was in Kghosi Mapuru. But thereafter, God rescued me when I was in a mental hospital where they wanted to clarify to the point that I must be a dead person. God saved me to come and save you, Hakainde Hichilema. I won't listen to all criticism because people who don't know God, people who have never asked about God, they see this as madness. They see this as schizophrenia. When we say that God has spoken to us, they think that we are lying. And that's the reason why you find that there are a lot of prophets that only talk about Zambia, only talk about the presidents in Zambia, winning the elections in Zambia, winning the election. But they don't. Why can't you sit down and ask even Siawan to say you are claiming that you saw Tasira Lungu, but Tasira Lungu cannot win now. You will win in next after 2029. All those are political opinion. He has no vision. He changes his statement every 3 minutes, And I want to say that regarding Siawan, I wrote it in this book before this tension that is there. I wrote it. I wrote on a chapter, okay, page 27, paragraph 2. I said, there are many false prophets that claim to have prophesied your presidents when they are simply political analysts such as Siawan of Nigeria and Bushiri of Malawi. Both cannot tell you what is lying ahead in your victory as president. They cannot rescue you from your troubles as Prophet Siawan claims that you are surrounded by wrong people. You eat alone without sharing with the youths that voted for you. In one of his videos on his Facebook, here is a person who calls himself a prophet. He told you to say, you Hakainde Hichilema, you eat alone. And today is the person that you are holding as a person who is protecting you or who is giving you insight. Who gives Hakainde Hichilema all your secret meetings, everything that is happening around Zambia? He becomes a spokesperson. You are destroying the country and you are destroying the ministry of God. And you are the one who is plugging all this confusion, President Hakainde Hichilema. If you can stop a voice like that one of Siawan to mislead people using the name of God, to mislead people using witchcraft, to mislead people, is there telling people to say, tomorrow, by this time, you are going to, at such a time, you are going to receive a phone call. You have your money in your account. Is that what God says? God does not talk about miracle money. God talks about working 6 days. The 7th day of the week is to rest. Meaning that your blessing, your money comes from working. Let us not dilute the word of God and train people to work in prayers. Every day you go to church and pray and you expect miracle money. Those are the things that you don't see that they are causing confusion in Zambia. They are causing confusion in the whole world. And when we tell you to say, President Hakainde Hichilema, can you forget the donor-funded crimes? Let the police arrest the leaders whilst they are still serving. Don't wait for a leader to be arrested after leaving power. That will be justice. If you arrest a criminal because you are on the right position as a police, know that you are corrupt. Arrest the president when he's stealing. Open the cases of a president when he's still in power to say, we saw that you diverted this money. We saw that you did this. And when those people, if they are strong not to be arrested, but their cases are already on record, under the police, no EU funds to fight corruption, then therefore you are going to be righteous before God. I pray that my appeal to drop the cases is not saying that these people, they are all innocent. All politicians, they steal. Even you, Hakainde Hichilema. Just wait. When you leave power, the same cases will come against you. Because the system that accuses these people is the same system that will arrest you. Using the very people who are your trustees, the very people who we are working with. May God bless you. I'm not bringing division. I'm bringing truth. So that when you sit down with the family of Ester Lungu, you may know to say that God says, regardless of whatsoever, may you consider reconciliation. May you consider speaking to this family in peace so that Zambia can remain peaceful. And consider also to plead with the opposition so that they may protect you with a proposal before the parliament to unite Zambia and to reclaim the natural resources which you were hired to privatize. You didn't privatize them. but you were hired to privatize, and you know who bought those companies. Tell them that it is time that we are going to refund you your money. We want our companies. Or without refund, because they have gotten their profits. When that money is within your reach, then you can divide the money by creating employment to Zambians, and Zambians will love you, and they can vote for you even for the third term. May God bless you.